College students shout from the river to the sea, Palestine must be free. Many are unaware that the protest slogan actually calls for the end to Israel and genocide against Jewish people. That is the goal of Hamas. So what is happening on American college campuses since the Hamas terror of October 7th? Why are so many young people joining this anti-Israel movement? Well, here with us is Young Voices commentator, Dissident Project speaker, Tahmineh Dehbozorgi. Tahmineh, good to talk with you again. We saw some big pro-Palestinian demonstrations in D.C. recently, and you're a George Washington University Law School student, so what's happening on campus there?
In the past few weeks, we've seen students demonstrating at George Washington University campus. We saw some projections on Gilman Library wall where students projected words such as Palestine will be free. And in the meantime, we see that there are a lot of activists coming from outside of university and protesting near GW because our school is near the State Department where a lot of things happen. And in the past few weeks, a lot of Jewish students on campus have been really worried about their safety. The president of George Washington University, Ellen Granberg, she also had to cancel her public inauguration after she received a lot of threats from pro-Palestinian student groups after she issued a statement defending Jewish students. So the situation on campus is not really friendly to a lot of Jewish students, and it is very concerning because no Jewish student should feel unsafe at a university that bears the name of George Washington or anywhere else in this country. We are a nation where we have people coming from all backgrounds and all religions. Nobody should be targeted for their ideology or for their religion.
And you and your family fled the Ayatollah in Iran 8 years ago. So do these protests remind you a bit of the anti-Israel demonstrations you left behind in the Islamic Republic? How are they different?
Well, a lot of Iranians are actually supporting Israel. For the past 40 years, the Islamic Republic of Iran has been supporting terrorist groups such as Hezbollah and Hamas. And Iranian people know that. They know that the Islamic Republic is not a friendly government to humankind. Therefore, many Iranian Americans, or even Iranians that I speak to back in Iran, they are actually standing with the Jewish people and they do not support Hamas. On the other hand, I see a lot of students walking around with kufiyas. You know, that's a garment that a lot of Islamic Republic police forces and those connected with the IRGC wear, which to me brings back a lot of bad memories. To many of us, that is like equivalent of wearing a swastika. I see students wearing those kufiyas at George Washington University, which for me is not a really pleasant scene. On the other hand, we see that there are a lot of anti-Semitic rhetoric going on college campus, not just by a lot of these pro-Palestinian students, but also by a lot of university professors. We saw at Yale University, a professor said a lot of anti-Semitic things. We see that at Berkeley Law School, students threatened Dean Cherminsky because he's Jewish. So this is a situation where most people were surprised to see, but to me, that is not surprising at all, because in the past few years, academia has been a place where these ideologies have been supported and endorsed.
Well, it's difficult to change attitudes when many of the professors, as you mentioned, teach extreme anti-Israel, anti-Jewish views. So what needs to be done to turn this around so students learn the truth?
One of the things we do at Dissident Project is that we travel across the country and speak to high school students. I share my stories of living under an authoritarian government that forced women to wear a hijab and took away people's economic and social freedoms. We need to educate our population about the dangers of these radical ideologies. On college campuses these days, for example, if I share my story, students will shut it down, professors will shut it down, they will call it Islamophobic, although I've actually lived under an Islamic Republic where I've seen the dangers of these things. So I think the work we do at Dissident Project is very important because we teach students in high schools about values of Western classical liberalism, and also what it is important that preserve our constitutional rights and liberties. In a country where people appreciate these values, you won't see students coming and supporting terrorist organizations like Hamas anymore.
Okay, you know from your own experience, Young Voices commentator with the Dissident Project, Tahmineh Dehbozorgi. Thank you for setting us straight today. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Gary.